So, one, U2S1F direct inverse variation. As x increases, so does y. As y increases, so does x, and vice versa. So here are our formulas, and you've already written them down, and we are going to apply it. So here, if y varies directly as x, this is your y1 and your x1. The two values they give you are your one value. Okay. So here they want you to find x, so we're going to be using this formula here. X is equal to x1 over y1 times y2. Okay. So my equation, if they ask for the equation, we are only going to plug in the 27 and 18. So that's x is equal to your x1, 18 over 27 times y. That's your equation. Now, on what derivative, the Canvas homework that we use, I don't think you have to simplify your fractions, okay? But you should. 18 and 27 can both be divided by 9. So divide by 9. We get x is equal to 2/3 y. That's your equation. That's going to be part one of the assignment.
So it's not solved.
Not solved. So part two. So this is part one. Part two is we're going to plug in this y value in here. X is equal to 2/3 times 15. And you just type that straight into a calculator. So 2 divided by 3 times 15, and we get 10. So 2 divided by 3 times 15, or you do 15 times 2 divided by 3. It doesn't matter what order you put that in, you'll still get 10. Let's try another one of these. Here we have a word problem.
Last one. That's right. Thank you.
So you have a word problem. It says that if there are 24 ounces in 1.5 pounds, okay, they vary directly. So we'll say that this is X and this is Y. It doesn't really matter which one you say is X and Y, as long as if X is ounces, okay, and Y is pounds, how many ounces? So we're looking for X, okay, in Y equals 12 pounds. Okay. So it doesn't matter which one you make X or Y. As long as the next sentence you keep your X's as that unit and Y's as that unit. So if X is ounces, X needs to be ounces down here. If Y is pounds, Y needs to be pounds down here. That's the only part that matters. So again, we have that X is equal to X1 over Y1 times Y. Plug in the two values we know. This is your X1 and your Y1. So X is equal to 24 over 1.5 times Y. Now let's see what 24 divided by 1.5 is. 24 divided by 1.5. We get 16. 16y. Because by the way, how many ounces are in a pound?
6.
There you go. So if we have 12 pounds, if this is my y value, I'm going to plug that in here. X equals 16 times 12, which is, I don't know, 160 plus 32, 192. Yeah, very easy. All right, so I'm going to have you practice this. Let's look at our spot check. So here we are given y varies directly with x, y is 50, x is 10. Now this time they're giving you x, so they want to know what y is. They want to know you're going to be using this formula, right? Y is equal to y1 over x1 x. That's the formula you set this up.
But it still works the same way as that.
Yeah, it's just this time we're solving for y. That's why I gave you the two formulas. Just depends on if you're solving for x or y. Notice if you're solving for x, what's on the top of the fraction? X. If you're solving for y, then y is on the top of the fraction. I'm going to say most of your homework questions are probably going to have you solve for y. Oddly enough, most of the notes are going to have you solve for x. It is. Yeah. Yeah, but they want you to plug in to the bottom. Yeah. Where's the point? Yeah, the right there is the times present. So the first part is one divided by one. Y1 is 50, so 50 over 10. So I tell you, times x. I just ask x to something. Yeah. And then it's like, yeah, you know, well, what is this? X is 15, so it's 50, well, 50 divided. Actually, so it's fine. So far, really good. So don't forget on that first one, they do want you to write that as y is equal to your y1 over your x1 times x. They want the whole equation out. The second one, they just want the answer. Do not type y equals because they already have the y equals there. The second part. Okay, so let's see how we're doing. All right. So you can reduce it to 5x. Okay, 50 over 10 is 5x. They would say 50 over 10, no problem. Like I said, they would take it. All right, that's not an issue. We're still correct. Okay. So it should be 50 over 10, I think, on this one. What happened here? These. Okay. So for this one, they don't want the y1, x1. They want you to replace your y1 and x1 with 50 and 10. Okay. So yeah. And here I think you just forgot the y equals 50 over 10x. Okay. So we got an idea of how they want this written down now. And the second part, if you plug in that, you get 75. Okay. You do get y equals 5x. So again, the y equals 5x is there, but they want x is 15. So replace that x with 15, and 5 times 15 is 75. So again, they do want. Now you can't just write this because 50 divided by 10 is 5. So y is equal to 5x. Well, that's fine. And then 5 times x is 75. So yeah, that's correct. All right, let's go back to the notes. We have one more example of direct, and then we'll talk about inverse variation. So, again, it doesn't matter which one you label. Okay, you have to be careful though, because here we have Earth and Moon, and they're different. So if we label this first one as X, so X is Earth pounds. Actually it's pounds, not pounds. Pounds. Okay. And Y, again, this is your X1 and your Y1. Y1 is moon pounds. So if they vary directly, how much would an object weigh on the moon? So here they want that, they want to know what Y equals, because they want moon pounds. If this is X, what's your X2 really? X equals, again, 275 Earth pounds. So if you said the first one was X is Earth pound, then you're down there, X is Earth pounds. So just make sure that X is both the same unit. That's the important part with the word problems. So again, we have that Y. Now again, since we're trying to find Y equals Y1 over X1 times X. That case gives you Y is equal to, Y1 is 18.7 over 110 times X. And I'm just going to leave it as that because I don't want to reduce that. Okay. So to plug this in, Y is equal to 18.7 over 110 times the value to give you 275. And I'm just going to plug that into a calculator. So 18.7 divided by 110 times 275. 46.75 moon pounds. So if you're 275 pounds on Earth, you're 46 pounds on the moon. Let's talk about inverse variation. Inverse variation uses this formula. Okay, so again, write this down. This is how they're going to want you to write this on the homework website, the Canvas. Now the next part is we're just going to multiply the two values they give us together. That's your numerator. Whatever it is, the two values they give us is your numerator. If they want to find y, then it's y equals that product over x. If they want to find x, it's that product over y. So again, go ahead and write that down if you haven't written this down. Now we're going to answer your homework. It's going to be important. You're going to answer your homework. All right. So if y inversely is x, find y when x is 8. So if they want y equals that x1, y1 times over x, okay, or x2. Again, when we write it in there, they don't write x2. Okay, so that's going to be y equals, what's negative 2 times 12? 24 over x. Okay, so that's the equation, 24 over x. Okay, and then the answer is y equals 24 over 8. So that gives you y equals 3. Well, so let's practice this on the homework. Well, it does say varies inversely. It should be the same formula. We're finding y again. So y equals 9 times 6 over x. Now, again, the rules still apply when putting in your answer if you have a fraction. It's, I think you probably should leave it as a fraction. I don't think you're going to want a decimal that repeats. And again, the root example is here if you simplify a fraction. So is your answer?
I said, but I didn't pass it.
The other side. It is. Now again, it doesn't matter. Like the derivative doesn't care if you reduce; they're really forgiving on that. Yeah, you won't leave it as a fraction because it's if you do type it in, you get a repeating decimal, right? And we do know derivative does not like repeating decimals. So, but you can reduce because both of them are divisible by 2. Okay, you don't have to on derivative; they'll mark it right. But I would use to reduce. Always reduce your fractions if you can. Yeah. Oh, yeah, she y equals these little fragments. Other than. Where's that 6 for? Where is this 6 for? It's such a big part. So yeah. So it just be 6 over. Over 22. Again, you can reduce that. You don't have to, but you can. So if you plug it in, you do get, good job, it is y is equal to 54 over x. So, hey, they even took 6 times 9 over x. That's nice. That's really nice for that. Now, here we have y equals 54 over 22. Again, 27 over 11. You don't want to put y equals. They will mark it wrong. They're there. They already have y equals. Don't put it there again. And you don't. No, they did take the decimal. Did they say that rounded? That's nice. They took the decimal rounded. I didn't know they would. Usually, so far, they haven't been taking that decimal. So, there's a surprise. Okay, I would usually just leave it as a fraction. All right. So let's finish up these notes. So it takes 8 minutes. We'll say this is x, so x is minutes, to run a lap at 5 miles per hour. Okay, so this is your y. If they vary inversely, how fast would a person running if it takes 10 minutes? So this is your x again. If x is minutes, then x is minutes. So y is equal to 8 times 5 over x. Okay, so that is y is equal to 40 over x. And if x is 10, that gives you y is equal to 40 over 10. What's 40 over 10? So 4. It's 4 miles per hour. The reason why I say 4 miles per hour is because my y is in miles per hour. So that's why I leave it as 4 miles per hour. Oh, that's it. Okay. So let's make sure we can do one of these word problems. I think that's the inverse. All right. So Let's look at this question. Power required to complete a task varies inversely to the time. So you have watts and seconds. Okay, so let me screen right here. So suppose it takes 30 watts, let's say that's my X, of power to roll a stone across the field in 46 seconds. That's my Y. So watts X is watts, Y is seconds. Okay. So if I want to write the equation, that's going to be Y is equal to watts times seconds. So that is 30 times 46 over X. Okay. Now, 30 times 46, let's see what that is. Yeah, 30, 46, 1380. So I have Y equals 1380 over X. Now, this one does say round your answer to 3 decimals. So do round your answer. That's nice. Yeah, because it does say. So how many watts of power would it take to roll the stone in 27 seconds? So Y is equal to 1380. Again, it doesn't really matter which one's watts and seconds in these cases. For inverse variation, it really doesn't make a difference because you're going to multiply them and then divide by the number they give you. So if we plug that in, so divide that by 27, well, I get 51.111. Rounding to the third decimal, it's all ones, right? So 51.11. Yeah. Okay. Difference is, oh, you put Y equals, yeah, don't put Y equals. We have an idea? We're good to go? All right. I'll let you guys open it and let you guys go. So there it is. It is open. All right. Let's talk about the test. I have a paper test that is 16 questions. Okay. Or we could do the online test, which is 12 questions. And the online test is exactly like the homework. So if you've done the homework, you have the online test. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open a practice test that is going to be the test. Okay, it'll be the exact same thing as the test. Right, same number of questions, same order of questions, and everything for you to practice on, and we're going to go over that on Monday. Okay, go over an example. All right. So we can look at what you did and what we have up there. All right. And then on Tuesday, I'm going to make just basically copy the practice test, copy the review that I give you, and then post that as the practice test. Okay, so it'll be another online test like we did last time. After that, if you want to do, but don't do too great, I can give you a paper test, or I can give you another copy of the online test. You'll not be sure of that. Which one is? What? No, I haven't opened it yet, so we said. Motions. So it should be there now. Should be Unit 2, Session 1 review. Refresh your screen. What? You know all that. There it is. Yeah. So that's the test review.